Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you all about the BIMobject API and the BIM supply platform. We are really entering a new era with the BIMobject platform, especially with the announcement of the API and the major updates of the BIM supply solutions. With the digitization of industry, and above all, the construction industry, we at BIMobject are revolutionizing the way that you as a building product manufacturer can approach and build your digital product catalogs with content hosted on the BIMobject platform. The same can actually be said about our BIM supply platform. We are revolutionizing the way the business is being done with the supply chain. We're providing tools that not only accommodate the way business is done today, but will provide tools that are future-proof and that will also be able to create brand new business opportunities for you that have never before been imagined. Before I get into API and BIM supply, I'd like to first kind of reiterate on what Stefan was talking about when he showed in his slide about the way that our growth is going. There's 2.7 zettabytes of data in the digital world today. Does anybody know how much a zettabyte is? It's 100 billion terabytes. So there's a massive amount of information out there. And our BIMobject community is really doing their great job to contribute to this number as well. We have almost 22 million unique products on the BIMobject platform. This is amazing. The amount of downloads the BIMobject is generating is also incredible. The downloads are generating business opportunities for you guys on a global level. And we're going to give you the tools to facilitate that this continues to happen and that you can build brand new business opportunities. Web service, webhook, microservice. If you haven't heard these terms before today, from today on, you'll be hearing them a lot more. But what do they all mean? We can group all of these under one common term, an API, or an application programming interface. Now, as Stefan mentioned, we've made tremendous progress with our public API, and it gives you brand new ways to build digital product catalogs and to distribute them via multiple channels. But first, I'd like to quickly explain what an API is. So, in its most basic form, an API is when two computers talk to each other, or multiple computers talk to each other. Hey, one makes a statement and asks a question. I'm hungry, give me back a list of restaurants. And the other computer answers, I know a great restaurant. Let's head on over to Megabyte. Yeah, bit corny, but anyway. It's not really like that. It's a little bit more abstract than that. Now, this image does explain it quite well, but now it's too abstract. So I'm going to take something as a metaphor today that all of us take for granted on a daily basis, and it's the good old electrical socket. Now, we don't really think about it in the way that this electrical socket actually provides a service for us. And that service is electricity. And it's exactly the same ways that we're doing with the BIMobject API. We're providing a service for you. So that service, the electricity, you have a service provider, which is the electrical company, and they have their electrical stations, whether it's wind or whether it's coal or whether it's nuclear, there's a service there. And again, we take it for granted. So you take your device and you plug it in, you turn it on, it simply works. And it's the same thing about our API. Now, we wouldn't have been able to provide this API if we didn't have the single source of truth concept. And in our case, it's the BIMobject platform. If we gave you direct contact, so if we didn't have an API, it would be kind of like taking your house and hardwiring it directly to the power plant. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? And then there's no safety net in between, so if something happens at the power plant, your house could probably blow up. Well, that's an extreme, but it could happen. So again, there's the simple reason we did this was that we want you to be able to grow your business in multiple channels. So the first part of the API, or there's 4 services that we have that make up the BIMobject API. It's the download, it's the product search, And as you can see here, this is a double adapter. So we have two services attached to this. And it's also the product information. And we also have brand information. So what does this mean? This means that you can reuse or reconsume content and information that is on the BIMobject cloud platform. And I'll reiterate on that in a moment. Now, there's a lot of positive side effects when we created this API. So obviously, we created this with you in mind, our customer. But again, there's some really nice side effects. So because we're using our cloud platform where everything is hosted, we can have multiple BIM systems. As Stefan mentioned, now we're releasing our source code as free source, which is huge news for us as well. There's multiple apps that can source this content. There's multiple desktop apps. There's web apps. And again, it just goes on and on and on. Now, again, just reiterating, what's really important and interesting to know about this is that all of these apps that are around the cloud platform are using exactly the same content. And it's not recreating it, it's reconsuming. So whether it's a desktop app or whether it's a BIM system, they're all using that exact same information. And what's also powerful about having an API is that you can leverage the full power of the content management system that we have in the back end. So you can go and change things. You have access to properties, you have access to data, you have access to downloads. You update something with your product on our platform, it's updated everywhere. So again, with this new API, it really does concrete our position as being the single source of truth. It also allows for application communication between other product solutions. Another interesting thing is now that supply chain companies can fetch product information to enrich their own e-commerce platforms. And I'm going to bring all this down to grassroots levels in a moment and exemplify what we've actually done. Information brokers, there are a lot of those around. They can also give their community product downloads, BIM files. You can build any type of web product catalog that's totally synchronized with the BIMobject database, and it's always up to date. Again, the single source of truth. And just reiterating, it really means that we're entering a new era with our platform. So what I'd like to do is just briefly show how this works. So I'm very, very happy and proud to announce that as of today, the public API is available. So this is about our developer site. I'd just like to quickly run you through the process of the registration and show you the platform. So all you need to do as a developer is accept our terms and conditions. You give us a little brief description about what you would like to do. Obviously, as Stefan said, we don't want to have any competitors coming in and saying that they want to rip everything off our portal. Obviously, we don't want that. It's a very quick registration process. Developers are approved. You create your app. Very simple. Now, for a developer, this is nothing new. They're used to all of this. They go in and give it a name. They give it a quick description, and then they can start developing. One thing that's also extremely beneficial about having an API, now it's not unique to our API, but it's any API, it's agnostic, so meaning we don't care what system you develop in. We don't care where you have your platform hosted. It could be on Azure, where we are. It could be on Bluemix. It could be on Amazon. It doesn't matter. You can use a programming language that's called C++, Python, Angular. It doesn't matter. Our API doesn't matter. We give you that information and then you render it however you like. Obviously, along the way, developers will need to have access to documentation, which is also available on the developer platform. Every function is documented. One thing that I'd like to note is that we are still in a beta phase, so the documentation will be continued to be updated, but that will be done continuously. We also have a developer news platform area where any new function, any new endpoint, or any important information will also be added to the platform. Once you're done, you simply deploy it. It's that easy, it simply works. So what I'd like to do now is bring all of this technical talk into real-life business. I want to contextualize it for you. So I'd like to introduce you something to call Brand X, or sorry, Retail X. Now, Retail X is a fictitious brand. Retail X is a multi-brand furniture retail web shop. And they want to build product catalogs that are based on information that's coming from BIMobject. And why do they want to do this? Because they want to attract design professionals. So let me go on. All of the information that you see here is being read directly from BIMobject. Now again, the actual design here, that's entirely up to you. We don't care how you design it. But the thumbnails and the information that you see about these products in this image are being read directly via the BIMobject API into this website. As you can see here, we've added some searching functionality, again, coming via the BIMobject API. One thing I'd like to note, though, is that the search functionality that's available via the API is a little bit different to the one that's on the main BIMobject portal. It's a little bit more simplified, but it still works in the same way. As you can see here, there's been a search that's been initiated, and it's for sofas. We're getting back all of the results. And in this case, it's an effect sofa. And the image and all of the text that you see wrapped in this design is coming directly via the API, so that information is being channeled. So if something were to change on the single source of truth, so on the BIMobject platform on this product page, it would be changed on Retail X as well. Now this is where things really start to get interesting. Not only does Retail X want it to be able to give added value for their design professionals by giving them BIMobjects to download, they also want to allow them to purchase this product, so to buy it. Now, I do have to note the e-commerce platform here is not coming from us. This is Retail X. So we're just giving them that extra information, the BIMobjects, and then it's Retail X that's taking over the e-commerce stuff. So again, this is giving you totally new business areas. And then once that purchase has been initiated, it goes over to Retail X, the e-commerce platform, and then that transaction is handled by them. And then finally with Retail X, all of that brand information that you see here is again coming via the BIMobject API. Now you can be very granular in the way that you display brands here. It can be very, very specific. So you can have brands that have the BIMobject category sofas or windows or a specific type of window and display them however you like. And it's the same way as displaying it on the previous product pages as well. Finally, one last part, and if we go back to the developer platform, we have something that's called Github. Now, Github is a platform for where developers can store their code. There's different parts. There's an open part of it, and there's a closed part of it. So anyone that has a registration via the BIMobject developer platform will have access to source code. So the Retail X brand that I just showed now, we've put that up for you as inspiration, so you can download that source code and have a look how we've implemented the API into Retail X. And we'll continue to add new proof of concepts to inspire you and to give you ideas on how you can incorporate the BIMobject API into your platform. So finally, before I move on, I'd like to actually show a little video here about what our developers are saying about the API.
From a manufacturer point of view, this means that their products and their brand will be exposed to a lot more users around the world that maybe uses a lot of different softwares in their daily work. So this is a huge opportunity for them to actually be able to show their products in a much more global scale. From the developer point of view, it means whatever idea they have, They can realize that through our APIs. We don't decide what platform they have to develop on or anything. They can just use whatever information we have in our database to create whatever app they want on any system they want. The response have been awesome. We have a lot of developers that has signed up to gain access to this API. It's still in a beta phase, so we are slowly trying to scale this as much as possible. Basically, for me, as I see this is the future of BIMobject, to be able to source all of this information to anybody that wants to use it. So if you're a manufacturer that has published products on BIMobject.com, this means you can actually source your entire product library and integrate it on your website however you want and style it however you want to. So if you're a developer that has a really good idea around BIM content and BIM objects, please go to developer.bimobject.com to sign up and gain access to all the information we have.
Thank you very much. And anyone that knows Yuan knows that he's really, really, really excited in this video. Which he is, sorry Yuan. Again, this is available today, so anyone that wants to go and register, please feel free to do so. Or if you have any external developers, get them to register and we'll start that approval process as quickly as possible. So it's something that, of course, that we'll continue to develop on top of, we'll continue to extend our API, and we're really, really excited. Stefan mentioned in his presentation as well, this is something that really inspires him and makes him get out of bed every day. I can say I feel exactly the same way about the BIM Supply platform. It is really, really, truly exciting, the different business opportunities that it presents for both BIMobject as a company and for you as building product manufacturers as well. I'd just like to quickly reiterate so you remember what the BIM Supply platform is. It's the first BIM-enabled O2O platform. So O2O, what do we mean by that? We mean from online to offline. So from the digital product to the physical product. So now we're talking about the supply chain. And I'm very proud to release the brand new design of the BIM Supply platform. We have 2 web apps. First of all, the one that Stefan showed in his video is the Spaces app, where we're now taking away the need for expensive BIM systems. You can put up a BIM file and you can view it via a web browser. And the second app, which we're very proud to release and which I'll be talking a lot about today, is our List web app as well. So we're really empowering the supply chain. Just quickly like to show the updates that we've done on BIM Supply Spaces. It's gotten a new redesign. We have a lot of new functionality that's been added to it. I won't go through all of the updates that we've done since last year because there's so many, but please feel free to go in and have a play around with it. It's open for you. All you need is a registration on BIMobject.com and you can start going around and having a look at the different things that we've thrown up there. BIM Supply Lists. This gets me very excited. This is going to absolutely revolutionize the way that business is done within the construction industry. What is it? I guess you can say that it's the Google Docs of the BIM world. What do I mean? I mean that it's scalable, it's accessible, it's updatable, and it's shareable. And it's all real live BIM data with inside a web browser. I'd just quickly like to explain how this is done today. So this is a BIM system where I need to go in and I need to start specifying how I want to schedule something. So I want to share information about my design. So first of all, it's quite repetitive. I need to know what I need to get a list of or a schedule of. So I go through and I choose different things that I would like to present in this type of display. Now this is fine, this is still within inside of the process. So this is the result of what I chose in that previous list. Now if I want to share this, what do I have to do? Number one, I either have to have the same system and someone needs to invite me into my design model. Now if I change my hat and put my architect hat on, it's not really that interesting for me. I don't want to share my IP. That means that I'm inviting someone in to can start playing around with my design, which is quite dangerous. So how does this process work? How do I share this information? I need to export it. And as soon as I export it, it becomes obsolete. If I go back and change something in that model, then I have to go back and do that process again. I need to resave it, then I need to send it out. So we have a direct disconnect. And it's prone to mistakes. And what do we do about ownership? If someone goes in and changes this, who's responsible for anything that goes wrong? So I have to export this as something, and then I need to import it into something else. Again, it's outdated. It's not traceable. I can't trace any changes. It's disconnected from the whole process. And this is where we start getting into the whole construction industry problems. You know, Stefan said that we can't just take old processes and digitize them. We need to change the process. And this is where we're really disrupting. And it's not scalable. And again, it's very, very difficult to maintain. And obviously, we've looked at this and we have a solution for it. So to start off with, it's based on our integrated Revit app. So we're doing this for Revit to start off with. All a user needs to do in this case to get their BIM information onto the BIM supply platform is give us a project name and a project address. That's it. Again, it's integrated into our Revit app. They simply click on the BIM supply button. They're presented with a dialog box where they can see information over their project and what they're about to send to the BIM supply platform. And then the process is initiated. So over the last 5 or 6 years, since we've been working at BIMobject, we've been pushing all of this information into these objects. So there's so much information out there now. You know, we've been pushing in, now we're allowing the users to extract that information and put it up onto our platform. In this case, this is the same design. So we have the two web apps, the Spaces app and the Lists app. This is the List app dashboard. Again, it's all in a browser. And it's coming directly from a BIM model. Now you see the difference. This is shareable. It's on a platform. As Stefan was saying, people want integrated systems. Platforms talking to platforms. We can do a lot with this information now. We have a beautiful dashboard here, so now we're going into that specific project information. We have statistics. We can start measuring things. And because this is on a platform, we can start sharing it with other people as well. Now all of a sudden, everything is quantifiable. We're showing it on a platform. It's very easy to understand. You don't have to have a BIM system. You don't need to use another disconnected system to view this information. What's also really interesting about this, and is also super exciting, is when two platforms can actually talk to each other. We have a cooperation or a partnership with an American company called Arcom. Arcom has a web platform that's called Arcom One, which is a spec writing book system. So based on all of the standards, so all of those standards that we have in the BIM objects, we can link directly to a spec book. And a spec book is a legal documentation, I'm pretty much sure that in most countries, but this is one of the most used platforms in the US. So now we're giving those users the ability to link directly to an existing specification or to a specific topic inside of a spec book writing system, where they can start extracting that information and embellishing it in that external system. Or they can go directly to an existing spec book. Again, this is really, really powerful. Now the next slide I'm about to show, so this slide here is where it gets really, really exciting. And I guess for a lot of you people that are working in the construction industry, once you understand this, you'll find this very exciting as well. So the previous slides, they were predefined templates. So we have templates for Kobe, we have templates for master format, and we have templates for eTIM. Now these are just the first three that we've started off with. Of course, we will continue to add predefined templates as we go along. What you're seeing here now is actually a custom creation area of the BIM supply list platform, where you can go in and create your own schedule. You can create your own design around all of that information. Now, all of that information that you see in that list there is being read directly from that BIM model. And this is the result of it. So I've gone in and I've chosen some different parameters, and now I'm displaying that on the list platform. I can add other things for costing as well. So what does that mean? That means that I can start inviting collaborators in that can start giving me pricing information. So there's a couple of different ways that I can share this with other collaborators. I can do it on a project level, so they gain insight to everything. Or I can do it on a specific list level as well, so they only see the information that I want to share. Again, because it's an integrated platform, we can do a lot more with it. And we can trace ownability, we can trace any changes that have been done as well, and we know who's done the changes. So it's the traceability. So again, we mitigate all that risk involved with sending something out in a disconnected way. And we have full transparency, and this information follows the whole building life cycle. Again, because it's a platform, this information never becomes obsolete. We can continue to embellish this during the whole life cycle of the process or of the building, not just during the construction phase, which is really interesting. Of course, I have to follow in Stefan's footsteps. Tim Cook said in his recent presentation when he opened up the Steve Jobs Theatre is that they never take this statement lightly, and neither do we. So as of today, I'm also extremely happy to announce that the list functionality is also available for the Spaces web app, which is totally unique. So what we're doing now is that we're giving you the ability, without a BIM system, to be able to view a BIM file and to be able to view that information in a BIM file in the form of our lists app, all in a web browser. So we're taking that whole need for the BIM systems out of the picture totally. Again, it's a very simple process. You can go in and test it. It's very powerful and very exciting. And you know what? It's the same as our API. It's the same information, the same dashboard. Again, integrated processes. It's not disconnected. We can share this information with other stakeholders. And it follows the whole building life cycle, not just the construction process. So why are we doing this? Obviously, tying back everything into what Stefan said, we need to build in a more sustainable way. We can't continue what we're doing. And we're doing our job, and we're doing our hardest at BIMobject to really disrupt and to get people to start just taking old processes and digitizing them, but look at new ways of doing things. Solve issues in the BIM model, not out on site. It's costing too much money and there's too much waste. And obviously, we want to reduce risk. And we want to do it as early as possible. And early engagement of the supply chain is key. Thank you very much.